In this lecture today we are going to talk about understanding crime reporting. Friends, every day in the morning when you open your newspapers till the time you go to bed, you are flooded with crime reports about murders, rapes, burglaries, thefts and even traffic violations. Perhaps no other reporting touches us in our day-to-day life in the way crime reporting touches us, because crime is something that every citizen, every individual would like to know about. He wants to be aware about what is happening in his neighborhood. He wants to be alert because he does not want to get cheated. We are informing him, and sometimes, of course, crime takes a sensational turn and there is sensational reporting also. Crime stories have always sold like hotcakes. In fact, when tabloids were at their peak, perhaps it is crime stories which always used to make headlines. The clash between underworld, the communal riots, sectarian violence. Wherever the law is violated, there is crime. And that could be anything from a bank heist to a cyber crime to a big fraud, a bank fraud, to something as simple as a traffic violation. And traffic violation again would depend. If it could be rash and negligent driving, somebody coming from an affluent family taking their car over a few people sleeping on some pedestrians sleeping on the street, to something as simple as somebody going without helmet in his two-wheeler. So crime reporting is something that touches every day, everyone, and there is almost, though we have three kinds of people in crime reporting. We cover the criminals, we cover the investigating officers or the police officers, and the victims. But perhaps at one point or the other, there is hardly anybody who has not been either cheated or who has not been caught violating something. So majority of the people have had a brush with crime at one point or the other in their life. It could be a simple case of cheating. It could be somebody indulging in some hate crime, somebody indulging in some violation of law. So it affects us. It is important, therefore, not just as individuals but of course for students of journalism and mass communication, to understand the importance of crime reporting. I have had the fortune of being the first chief crime reporter of India's biggest news agency, the Press Trust of India, and as such I have had opportunity to cover from very close quarters, from murders to rapes to sensational incidents. Friends, crime reporting is often considered the nursery of reporting itself, because crime reporting teaches you a lot about the fundamentals of journalism itself. That is why perhaps the reason that at least in countries like India, the first beat that a journalist gets on becoming a reporter is crime reporting. He gets to cover the crime related incidents in his city, in his town, in his state, and gradually then you grow up the scale, grow up the ladder. So crime reporting is of utmost importance, because there is hardly any reporter who has not gone through the grind, who has not been to the crime spot. So crime reporting is something that almost every journalist has done at one point or the other in his life. So what is this crime reporting all about? Do not cross. In every crime scene you find this. So crime reporting, why do we call it the nursery of news reporting? Crime reporting teaches some of the essentials of journalism. To begin with, it teaches how to dig for a story. It teaches us that reporting is not something that you just see, but you have to unearth. What appearances could be deceptive? You don't go by appearances. you actually dig deep, you follow tips, you follow clues that you get, and then you may land up with a scoop. So how to dig for a story, that is very important. How to follow leads. When you get a tip off that something has happened, please remember that some smoke coming out of a chimney from a New Delhi hotel led to the famous Tandoor case, wherein a politician who had allegedly killed his wife, cut her into pieces and burnt her in the tandoor, came to be known as. It was one of the biggest sensational cases of that year. It was only because there were leads. So sometimes it could be a very casual conversation between two individuals, which has led to even cases like human sacrifice, where some people were exposed indulging in human sacrifice because a reporter was observant enough, was attentive enough to listen to conversation while traveling in a public transport. How to interview people to extract information, how to provoke people to give information, how to ask them questions. These are some of the things that you get to learn while doing crime reporting. So to talk to people, eyewitnesses, policemen, people in hospitals, working in hospitals, these are the areas where you have your sources. How to identify information, how to get to the real information, so how to extract information from them. As they say, by hook or crook, you got to get the information. It could be over a cup of tea, it could be over an argument, it could be over a discussion. But I remember getting there used to be a police cop killer who used to be on the prowl in the national capital. He used to hit policemen from the back, policemen who were working alone on their beats. He would go from the back and hit them. But then one of the cops told me that he is somebody, this man appears to be somebody who has been at one point or the other tortured by police, and he is perhaps taking revenge. Now that kind of stories about the cop killer being a victim of police atrocities made big headlines those days. Crime reporting teaches us how to write crisp, clear, interesting stories under pressure of a deadline, because crime stories are evolving stories. You have a murder in the day, by evening you don't have much, because it sometimes takes days together, and there is cutthroat competition. Who will get to, because crime report makes front page news. Who done it? That is the big question. Which are the clear indications? What does it indicate? What are the different aspects of, there are so many cases which have hit national headlines, global headlines, about crime incidents, about parents killing their children, children killing parents, unheard of stories, about relationships, interpersonal relationships, extramarital relationships. There are so many stories about people being cheated. It could be even about traffic violations. You had this very senior cop in Delhi police who did not worry when she picked up the vehicle belonging to the Prime Minister. She challaned that vehicle. That obviously became news. And in fact, throughout her life, people recalled that incident throughout her career, that she was somebody who took on the Prime Minister, because the vehicle of the Prime Minister had violated. But obviously the Prime Minister was not involved, it is his personal staff who was involved. But nevertheless, it made news. So crime, you will get all kinds of stories, but then these stories you have to write under pressure of a deadline, because every newspaper, every news organization, news agencies, for example, I worked in a news agencies have deadlines. You have to immediately file the story because there are other subscribers waiting for you. You have competitors who are again doing the story, so they could get a break. So you have to work against all odds and deliver the story. So the pressures of awareness. So this is something that we should always remember. Why is it important to report crime? Why do we report crime? There are some people who say that why do we report? There is so much of negativity. There is murder, rape, burglary, theft, cheating. These are all there in every newspaper, right from the front page. We are fed up with it. Yes, it does depress you sometimes. It does inculcate a sense of fear in you. But then, what is the purpose, the objective of reporting crime? The first objective is crime stories are about unusual events. One of the criteria for news. There are many criteria for news. Say something related to celebrity, that is news. Something that is topical, that is news. Something which has an impact on society. And here, crime is about unusual events. Usually you don't have. Generally people are civilized. People, lead normal lives. But then something abnormal happens. A family commits suicide. Families don't commit suicide regularly. There is a suicide pact. Parents kill their children and then commit suicide. It's a crime story. It is unusual. Parents usually look after their children. Children look after their parents. These days, what are the kind of stories which are coming? Somebody is playing a social media game. The parent is unhappy with it. The parent snatches away the mobile phone from the child or the youngster or the teenager. Next day morning you find that the teenager has murdered the father. Now this is not common. This is uncommon, unusual. But then unusual stories make news. That is one of the criteria for news. The second objective is to create awareness in the society about types and patterns of crime. It is the responsibility of journalists to inform the society what is happening today. What are the forms in which from ATMs, they fix scanners. They have cameras wherein they are able to find out your card number. They take a mirror copy of your card, and then based on that they take money from your account. They withdraw money from your account. Shouldn't the society be told about it? About new gangs who have new ways of cheating people, who come up with fraudulent schemes. So people have to be made aware. So crime reportage is aimed at creating awareness in the society that look, this is what is happening and we should be alert. It tells people about laws and penalty for breaking them. It says that look, why somebody has been punished. Now 3 people in Delhi have 4 people now have been sentenced to death by a court. Their date of hanging has been decided. Now this is to send a message to all perpetrators of such crimes, to people who are even remotely thinking of committing any crime, that look, this is the punishment that will, you will get if you violate the law. So it is important that you tell them that look, this is how somebody has broken law and this punishment, crime and punishment, the system of justice. So you have legal reporting, court reporting coming along with crime reporting, that you will be arrested, that there will be punishment. If there is a traffic violation, you will be challaned. So unless the message of punishment, which is called justice, the sense of justice prevails, that has to prevail in a civilized democratic society like ours, where we have to tell them that if you commit any crime, you will be punished. So that is one objective of reporting. They have to know about the laws. Sometimes people may not be aware that this may be a violation of law. It is crime reporting which tells them that look, doing this is a violation of law. If there is a section 144 promulgated in your area, and if you are assembling more than 4 people there, then that means it is a violation of law. That sedition is a violation of law. Defamation is a violation of law. You may not be aware of it. But when you hear about instances, stories, how people have been booked for certain things, then you realize that, oh, I was not aware that this is a crime. So it leads to awareness. And of course, it is fascinating to read. Everybody would be interested. That is why every television channel in the evenings have crime related programs. Aparadh, Crime Patrol, CID, what all. Every channel has a program late in the evening because there are people who would like to know, who are interested what kind of crimes are happening all around us, how young kids are being exploited, how cyber crimes are taking place, how children are being lured into different, undesirable professions, how, social media is being misused. All this you come to know when you read about. So it arouses, common man is interested in knowing them. And of course, about the lives of the criminals, how they lead lavish lifestyles. Then of course, to counter rumor mongering. Unless you do proper reporting, there will be a lot of rumors in the society. People can add a lot of, spices to make it spicy. They can say that, this has happened. They can add on to a lot of things. It could be gossip, it could be rumor, than what is actual. So if you actually do a story, so people can say that, look, this has happened because they were indulging in some kind of a witchcraft, whereas it could be a murder because of a property dispute. But then it could be projected in rumors, in gossips in your neighborhood as witchcraft. It is the duty of the journalist to go deep into the story and find out and say that, look, no, there is a property dispute angle to this, there is a revenge angle to this. That only a journalist can do it. So that is why it is important to counter rumor mongering. What is a good crime report? A good crime report has to be up to date. It has to give the latest information with regard to the investigation, how it has progressed, who are being tracked down. Today new technology has come. So how the criminals are being tracked. So it has to give in a lot of information so that there is confidence in the society, that there is a spate of killings in the city, spate of chain snatchings in the city. So some people are being hauled up, some people are being questioned, there is a specific gang behind it, and the police are on their job. So you have to be up to date, what all steps the law and order machinery is taking. A crime report has to be new, otherwise people are not interested in stale reports. They want to know the latest updates to any crime, any follow-up story. They would like to know that what is new about it, what is the new angle. If there is a murder has taken place, next day you come to know that somebody close, some family member was involved in it. Initially it would be, then later on police come to know that it was a friendly entry. And based on that friendly entry, you would know that it was somebody very close who for reasons of property or for revenge has taken that step. So it is a new angle to the story which has to be revealed. Unusual. Is the story unusual? Is it something usual or is it unusual? So something may be in a big country, in a big society, something may be very usual. But in a smaller society, it would be unusual. So are we looking at that? That something it is different from the general happenings. There are states, union territories where no crimes take place. Zero crime rate. There if something like a crime incident happens, it would be looked down upon. There are many states where women are very safe. They can walk past midnight with all jewelry. If a crime incident related to a woman happens in one of such state, it becomes big national news. Because whereas there are many states where after 8 o'clock you cannot move out, many cities, because it is not safe. So if something happens in a safe, then it becomes very relative. So it becomes a news. It has to be interesting. People should know that yes, there is something interesting about it because it affects their lives. Is it something related to, can I be defrauded by somebody? I receive so many emails. Many emails offer you a lot of booty. They tell you that your uncle has left so much of property. I do not know where to put in this property. I want your help in this. I would like to share it with you. Can you share some amount? And they fleece you. So many of the people have been fleeced. These are stories which interest you because each one of us receive this kind of offers on our emails thanks to digital media. Significant. How significant is it? What has the impact? If it is a pedestrian who has been a traffic violation has taken place by a common man, maybe there are 100 such violations. But when a traffic violation is done by a celebrity, when there is a rash and negligent driving by or a drunken driving by a celebrity, it becomes news. If a celebrity has been cheated on the online, it becomes news. So if a celebrity becomes either the victim or the perpetrator, it becomes news. It is significant. It has significance because they are role models for the society. So, how significant it is? What is the significance of that incident? It has to be about people. People how? People they are not statistics. They are people in flesh and blood. You need to know about them. You need to talk about them, their lives, how their life has changed after a particular crime. We have the Nirbhaya incident. After that, what has happened to their parents? What kind of life are they leading? People are interested to know that. That is called a human interest story. People want to know what is their fate after a particular incident. In a family, children have been killed. What do the parents do? This is something that we need to understand. So these are some of the important aspects of crime reporting. There are many more aspects which we can discuss in later sessions. On that note, thank you.